Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about the gender role. Our article is about joys and perils of Seoll날. Seoll날 is the biggest holiday in Korean with the Chuseok. All of the family gather and talk each other about our life. However, this good time can be the perils to someone. It is the result of gender role. So now we are going to talk about it. First, let us show the table of contents. First is introduction and summary. Second is emotional reading. And third is critical reading. And last is possible action and final summary. I will give an introduction and summary of our article. I have already said that our topic is the gender role which is revealed on the holiday Seoll날. Holiday looks very happy and joyful, but 6 of 10 feel stressed during the holiday. More than half of the people are stressed out during the holidays. We will take a closer look at stressed people by dividing them into 4 criteria. Let us see the holiday stress ranking, which is surveyed by the employment platform Sanamin. The people who are most stressed is the married woman. They account for 70.9%. Second is the unmarried woman, who account for 59%. Third and fourth is the married man and unmarried man, who each account for 50.6% and 52.4%. As you can see, the person who gets the most stress during the holidays is married woman. Why they get stressed most? There is the reason of the stress. The reason will be divided between men and women. Married women are stressed by the burden of cooking and housework and gift and other expenditure. In contrast, married men are stressed by the relationship between the parents and relations that compare with other families. There's one thing we need to see. Why do only women feel burdened at housework? The housework is not the reasons which give stress to the married man. Also, we have the interview which is from the housekeeper, Kwon Mi-suk. She said women are still expected to take on the job of cooking to feed at least 3 generations of their family and preparing food to offer on an altar for 제사, as well as all the cleaning up afterwards. They cook for the big family, and they also clean up all of the dishes. Also, holiday stress gave the negative result. According to the National Court Administration data, after the holiday, the intensity of emotional increase on holiday family. Divorce cases increases 138.8% after holiday. The stress of the holiday makes the break of the family. Finally, the main idea of this article is many people get stressed during holidays, but especially married women. Through this article, we have a fundamental question. Is it only woman's role to the housework on holidays Seoll날? Keep thinking about this question, and Jian will talk about our emotional reading.
Since this article is closely related to our real lives, we were able to sympathize more deeply as 20s women in Korea. Then let me start the presentation about emotional reading. In order to empathize more deeply with the discrimination against the women during the holidays, we need to look at what social structures have formed stereotypes of gender roles. In Korean traditional society, the man has represented the head of the family. A man is person who earns money and who is responsible for the family's living. On the other hand, women were responsible for private labor, such as nurture and domestic chores. Man obtains authority as a father in the family and takes the wife's respect and labor. This formed an equal authority and hierarchy of men and women throughout society. However, there has been a change in the gender stereotypes. Korea went through IMF and financial panic and started to go through the era of unlimited liability of individuals. Then it brought women labor. But despite the start of women's economic activities, still our society tends to distinguish gender roles. So these social structures have led to discrimination against the women. What images comes to your mind when you think of New Year's Day? In our group, the scene of making food came to mind first. Food preparation still remains a women's job on holidays. Then we have felt unequal feelings about the gender roles given to women. We could feel inequality, unfairness, and dissatisfaction on holiday culture. I and Soyeon would like to talk about the experience that made us feel unfairness. In my house on holidays, men and women sit separately when we eat. The men's table with two large tables is spacious, but the women's table is tiny, so there is not enough space for everyone to sit on. Women have to prepare foods, but they have to eat in an uncomfortable way. So every year I think it's strange and unfair. Toyan's experience is similar to me. In her house, in the morning of 설날, always women get up early and make a lot of foods, but the men are still sleeping. As soon as men wake up, they perform 제사 with food prepared by women. Then they eat breakfast at a white table and women eat with leftovers only after men finish eating. When she was young, she thinks this is a natural thing, but as time goes by, she thinks this is unfair idea. Then who do you think is the sufferer in this article? Who gets the most stress on New Year's Day? They are married women. They do housework all day long on 설날 at husband's house. We found an interesting thing. It's a fake plaster cast. The main sales target is married women, and sales actually increase during the holidays. Many women use this item to avoid the chores on holidays. It is also advertised as a necessity for women, but is this really essential for women? We should seriously think about it. This item can be seen as one of the evidence that married women are under extreme holiday stress. Also, a large number of married women experience holiday syndrome. Have you ever heard of this word? It refers to symptoms such as fatigue caused by mental and physical stress. According to Good Doctor Hospital, married women are particularly vulnerable to holiday syndrome because they expend too much physical and mental energy in undertaking domestic chores. These days, many women even declare a holiday boycott. We should create a holiday culture where no one suffers. Now it is time for us to try to harmonize with each other for everyone to have a happy New Year's Day. So this was about our emotional reading, and now Jaeyeon will continue the presentation.
From now on, we will look through the article critically. The purpose of the article is both informative and persuasive. The article is informative because it shows how much and why various kinds of people feel stressful in Korean traditional holiday. The article covers married women, married man, unmarried woman, and unmarried man. In addition, it is persuasive. The article highlights the voice of married women using their interview. This can intentionally show sufferings of married women. Next is author's point of view. As we can see from the information the author provided, the statistics and interviews are mostly negative to Korean traditional holiday. The author also mentioned the positive point of the holiday, but only one sentence. The explicit example for having negative view is that the author referring 설날 a source of words. Is there possible bias in the article? Yes. The statistics show every person who are married woman, married man, unmarried woman to unmarried man are stressed during Korean traditional holiday. However, the interview is only written focusing on married women's despair. The article is written in negative tone and attitude toward Korean traditional holiday, which shows author's intention that might influence readers' emotions. The credibility seems high since it is published by Korea Herald recently. Also, the information the article cites are credible since it is from Saram-in, Seoul Foundation of Women and Family, National Court Administration Data, Job Korea, and Albamon. Then how would be better to portray the same issue? What we have discussed is that it would rather be better to use media of image, such as dramas, movies, or cartoons, to reveal the reality of Korean traditional holiday. Such media has lower entry barrier compared to the online article, which can reveal gender role stereotypes much easily to large range of people. From now on, Soyeon will continue the presentation.
Now we're going to find out what possible actions we can do for these problems. There are individual efforts and social efforts. Let's get started with individual efforts. The first one is changing the sequence of visiting year after year. For example, first year visiting men's house first, and next year visiting women's house first. In national holidays, we usually visit men's house first and women's house later. This tradition may have strengthened gender discrimination. The second one is sharing roles and responsibilities at home. Men and women should share roles and responsibilities at home. Nowadays, even though the roles of men and women in the home are well divided, there are still more families in which women are responsible for housework. Making and practicing a household labor sharing table can be one of the solutions of this problem. The last one is understanding differences. It is important to realize that it is not about right or wrong. It is about a difference, and we should understand such difference. We should not give up communicating with upper generation and make an effort to harmonize with them. In order to decrease the generational difference, it is important to communicate with upper generation frequently. The point is that we should not teach them, but let them know the difference naturally. Next, there are 3 social efforts too. First, we can make campaign. There are many campaigns, but there's nothing about the women's hard work in holiday. It can be the family violence which is linked to emotion. It is not the light problem, and it can also bring the break of the family. For example, we can survey passers-by on the streets to see if they are stressed or not during 설날, so that people can realize and sympathize with other people's stress in public. It can also reduce holiday stress. The second one is expanding education to inform future generations of the importance of gender equality. Gender discrimination is also based on the older generation's outdated thought, so it will be a great help to educate the current generation and the future generation. And the last, using the media. The media should create contents that emphasize gender equality. By exposing people to media, they can naturally accept and practice gender equality. But while this is a good way for the younger generation in a media-friendly environment, it may not affect the older generation much. So, we read the article Joys and Perils of 설날, and we could empathize deeply with the gender discrimination revealed in this article. Also, we thought about why gender discrimination appears constantly. Many people, especially married women, felt unfairness during holidays, so nowadays more and more people are rejecting the traditional holiday culture and spending holidays in a different way than others. In particular, women are appearing to declare a holiday boycott, refusing to hold a ritual ceremony centered on male relatives and the labor that follows. The spread of the holiday boycott is due to the popularization of feminism, which has led to more women expressing their critical perception of holiday culture. Therefore, before these problems get bigger, we need to correct them. It is important that all people empathize with this gender discrimination in holidays and try to change our holiday tradition. Then everyone may have a pleasure in holidays. Thank you for listening our presentation.